So when I read my assessment of my strengths finding, up to the number one came learning. And then close to that was the ability to take ideas and make them presentable. And I thought, well, yeah, that's what I do.
We do that in Crest, where that's our intention and our heart's desires to help people find their values and strengths and become aware of who they are and know that they are equipped to do what they should do.
And when you operate in your natural talent and develop it to a strength, it's actually fun. You
Yeah.
enjoy doing it. It's energizing. And so, John, you and I just find this fun doing
Yeah.
this with people. We never get tired of doing Crest with people
Yeah. That's right.
because it's connecting deeply with how God's made us. And there's joy in practicing that. So we want to help you find your strengths and your talent so that you can operate in your flourishing time of your second half.
Right.
So, in fact, Marcus Buckingham and others have said this is the beginning of the strengths movement. Now, the strengths movement was born actually out of 25 years of research by the people at Gallup. They worked with 101 companies in 63 countries and included almost 2 million people. This is a massive study that crosses all cultures and geography, and out of it has come these understandings about how people are and how they work, and that's why it's a pretty robust tool that you can look at this and go, this is really something to pay attention to. Now, here's what's fascinating. In doing their study, they noticed two wrong ideas that we've been making about people and authorities in our cultures. The first one, the first fundamental flaw is that we have assumed that everyone can be competent in anything. Just, whatever you want to be, just be what you want to be. We sometimes tell our kids that you can be whatever you want to be. Not true. There are certain things that you're good at and certain things you're not good at. And sometimes we put the expectation so high that you can just be whatever you want to be. Not true.
Hmm.
Here's the second misunderstanding, assuming that people's greatest room for growth is correcting their weaknesses. Don't we do this all the time? Our kids come home with a D on their report card. Well, we're going to focus on that one. We're
Yeah.
going to really make sure you get your math up because your math is a D. And so that's what we got to work on. And we forget the A's. You're fine at A, so we'll just forget that. We're going to focus on the D. Wrong idea. In fact, the Gallup and the association and the strengths movement said, what if it would be possible if this belief or these beliefs were overturned and the priority became one in which the strength of the individual was uncovered and celebrated? Well, I tell you, when they put that message out to the public, people loved it. And it gained a lot of traction very quickly. And so finding your strengths became the preferred way of empowering people rather than trying to reverse their weaknesses. But old habits die hard. And there's still too many leaders that when they do a performance review, they point out all the weaknesses for the person and say, I want you to work on this. Here's my action plan for you. Work on these weaknesses. We're still operating in the old paradigm. We want to help you actually move into the new paradigm, one of finding your strengths and then managing around your weaknesses. That's a very different way of looking at things, isn't it? In fact, out of this new paradigm, they created the Strength Finder assessment that you're going to take. And we want you to help. It's intended to help you find your signature strength, or your talent, I should say, your signature talent. And that out of that, you can develop your strengths. In fact, on page 17 of the book, they say we named it Strengths Finder instead of Talent Finder because the goal is to build strength. And talent is just one of the ingredients. So we want to encourage you to take a look at the results that you get out of your assessment and really begin to think, now, how is it that God has wired me to be good at certain things? Once you've done that one, There's actually another resource that they wrote. It's called Go, Put Your Strengths to Work. This is where you go to the next step of saying, okay, now that I know what my talent is, and maybe even what I have as a strength, or when I work toward a strength, how do I actually make that work? How to make that happen in my work life? So that's another book right up there. You can just buy that one, and that's a bonus resource for you to work through.
Mm. Yeah, that's brilliant, Dan. This whole concept, for people that have Maximizer as one of their top strengths, this just fits into our wheelhouse. To focus on strengths instead of weaknesses, we really feel maximizes a person.
Yeah.
So let's just summarize what we've talked about so far. A healthy and productive second half means acknowledging your talents, developing a few of them into strengths, then spending more time and energy in your areas of strength. When our strengths are operating in harmony together, then they form an area or field of strength. Or as StrengthsFinder puts it, they work together to form a united domain of leadership strength. See, the 34 themes can be grouped into 4 domains. This is when the individual talents and strengths are working together to form a united strength. So let me give you a scenario so we can see what this would look like in real life. What should or would each leadership strength do in the following situation? An elderly person suddenly collapses in a worship service, and everyone quickly becomes aware of it. I would imagine some of you have actually experienced this. So let me go through this and identify what the different strength domains would do. People strong in the executing domain would probably go to the scene and then take action by coordinating people to help get the elderly person the care they need. They would start giving instructions to those standing around. Okay, so they come in, there's a crowd of people already around, and the executing domain is saying, okay, you go do this, you do this, I need you to do this. They're the ones that are taking action right away with those that are just standing around. People strong in the influencing domain, here's what they would do, probably. They would go to the stage or go to the platform and speak up to give the whole room direction and calm everyone down. While the first person gives instructions to the individuals right around the small crowd, this person would address the whole crowd, the whole congregation. People strong in the relational domain, they would go straight to the elderly person and give assurance that they'll be okay. Then they probably would go to the family with hugs and more assurance. That's what a relational domain strength person would do. Then the last one, people strong in the strategic domain, what are they doing? You can probably already know where I'm going to go with this one. They immediately start thinking about a better way to handle this in the future. Situations like this just can't happen again. So what are we going to do to make sure that they don't? They're already planning to talk to someone about this and put plans in place. So I hope that is helpful to see how these strengths can work together and make a difference. If each person uses their strengths in a united way, then they form this strength domain. And when people are operating in their domain of strength, then amazing things can happen and everything works properly.
That's a great illustration, John, to help us see it in practical ways. And when you describe it in those 4 ways, we get it. Yeah, we can see that actually that's true. It is an accurate description of life. And so when you take this assessment, it is a pretty accurate description of you.
Hmm.
And we want to encourage you to just take a look at these things and realize the potential that God's put within you naturally, and decide, I'm going to pick 2 of those or 3 of them at the maximum. And I want to add knowledge to this. I'm going to take courses that would augment my understanding, my natural understanding on this. And I'm going to take some skill training on how to actually implement these things. And I tell you, friends, that when you do things in line with your natural talent, there's a joyful energy that comes.
Yeah.
And you love it. It's just fun to do this.
Yeah, it
And
actually gives you energy rather than drains you, right?
yeah,
And we know people, there's people in our minds that we can think of, like in this scenario, yep, that person would do exactly that. And
yeah,
that's because they are who they are,
yeah,
and they know who they are, and they would just go do it.
yeah. So we want you to become more authentically you.
Yeah.
The person that God made you to be, with the strengths that he's given you. Forget about all those weaknesses. You will manage around those things. You can delegate a lot of them to someone else who loves doing that, whatever your weakness is. And when you have that as understanding in a team, man, everybody can be operating in their area of joy and natural strength. So this is a major helpful tool for you personally and for your team. Now, there's more in the curriculum, so we invite you to read that again and make sure you don't miss anything that's in there. And then again, connect on Slack and let's talk to each other about what you're learning and what you're seeing. And we're looking forward very much to walking this journey with you. Now, related to this and connected to it is the next video. We've talked about expanding your capacity. Oh, this is a really practical one that many people point to as life-changing when they took this at Crest.